Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about every book series that I am currently in the middle of. Honestly, I feel like I'm maybe sitting somewhere in between. There's not like a million book series that I'm in the middle of, but there's also not a small number of book series that I still have some more books to work my way through. But one distinction that I did want to make really clear in this video is we're talking series that I'm in the middle of that have books out. So like if I'm fully caught up on releases, I'm not going to be including those series in this video. And then at the end of this video, I just want to talk about some of the book series that I'm DNFing. And if you guys have a good reason for me continuing that series, let me know in the comments. I'm not like 100% on a lot of those, but I'm leaning towards not continuing them. So without further ado, let's jump into all of the book series that I'm in the middle of. The first series that I'm currently in the middle of is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is the first book in what's now a trilogy. When I read this book, only the first one had come out. And then since finishing this read, the other two books in this series have come out. The third one came out pretty recently. And this is definitely the epitome of cozy fantasy. There's not a ton of plot, but the setting and the atmosphere is really beautiful. The characters are really fun and really quirky. And when I read this book, I liked it, but I wasn't obsessed with it. I'm a big plot-driven girl. And so since this book didn't have a ton of the things that I look for in a fantasy book in particular, I wasn't super itching to pick up the next book in this series, but as time has gone by, I have continued to think about it. And so I kind of now am at a point where I definitely do want to continue this series, because if I keep thinking about it, that seems like it says something about the book and about the series. This is series number 1. The next series that I'm currently in the middle of is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This is honestly, to me at least, a little bit shocking that I have not finished this series yet. When I read this book, actually really loved it and annotated it the whole time that I was reading it. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a lot of tabs and annotations that I did within this story. And it was just one of those things where the romance was so subtle, and I thought the setting and the atmosphere of the fantasy world was really unique, and it didn't feel like any other fantasies that I had read before. It kind of gave Fourth Wing, but I knew that this came out before Fourth Wing. Like that was kind of the closest comparison that I could draw because of the school that the kids in here go to. My best guess as to why I haven't continued this series is because I don't own any of the books, and that tends to be one of the things that gets in my way. I randomly picked this up at a library. The library that I went to had a big cart of books for like $1 that you could take, and so I kind of randomly just picked this one up. And so yeah, I'm worried that I'm not gonna like remember enough now to continue this, but I definitely still want to. Like, I just had such a positive experience reading this, and I do feel like fantasy books like this tend to get better as you make your way further into the world. So I'm kind of wondering, does this series get better? Because I think I gave this a solid 4-star. I'd love to know. And again, this is kind of an original popular book from years ago, like pre-booktok. And so yeah, I felt kind of late to the game, but I do want to finish this. I do. Next up, we have the Ex Hex series by Erin Sterling. Similarly with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, when I picked this up, only the first book had been released, but now there's a second book, which I do own, and the third book that have both come out, and I haven't read either of them. The reason I refuse to read The Kiss Curse right now is because these books were quite literally made for the Halloween season. It's super witchy and cozy, and these books all take place during Halloween. There's no better time of year to read them. And so when I read the Ex Hex for the first time, I loved it so much that after a couple years passed, I didn't feel like continuing the series. I just wanted to reread the Ex Hex again. And so that's what I did last year. And so now that I've reread it, I'm feeling very ready to continue the series. So guys, hold me to it. Remind me that I need to read The Kiss Curse around Halloween time this year, and then maybe next year I can read the third book in this series. I don't actually know if this is currently finished. I don't know if there's more books coming out, but yeah, they're so fun for the fall time, and especially Halloween time. The next series that I'm currently in the middle of is the Magnolia Parks series. I've been talking about these a lot on my channel recently, so we're not really going to talk about them for very long. There are currently 5 books out, and I have read the first 4. And the last book in this series is literally a brick. I want to say it's like 500 or 600 pages long, and the Magnolia Parks book that comes out, that goes before the last one that I have to read, ends like in the craziest way. Like there's a lot of directions the book could have gone in, and the direction that it went in, I never ever would have guessed. This is an example of a series that's not finished, but of the books that are out, I have not read them all, but this is towards the top of my TBR. I just really want to read that 5th book because, again, there's a few series in here where it's like, okay, all you have to do is read one more book and either the series is done or you're fully caught up, and this is one of them. For anyone new, this may come as a bit of a surprise, and I hate to admit this to my channel, but I'm gonna do it. The reason that I say if you're new this is gonna come at a huge surprise is because I frequently talk about how big of a fan I am of the Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. But if I'm coming clean right now, I have actually only read the first 2 books and then about half of the 3rd book. And this is a huge problem that I used to have as a reader. I want to say that I've corrected it now. But when I was getting back into reading, and even going back to when I was in like 5th grade and younger, just like when I was originally into reading, I had a terrible habit of getting all the way through a series and then on the last book, either not reading the last book or only reading a fraction of it. And I think it comes down to the fact that I just love the world so much and I just don't want it to be over. So I put it aside and I'm like, okay, I will finish it, and then I don't. And so this is a prime example of a series that happened to. Another one that happened to, this is such a tangent, but another one that happened to is not the first Percy Jackson series, but the second Percy Jackson series that comes after that. So I read the full first 5, and then Rick Riordan released like The Lost Hero. I don't know what the series is, but that series of 5 books, and I read like 4.5 of those, and then I was like, oh my gosh, Percy Jackson is ending, and then I never actually finished the last book out of like 10 books, which is insane and terrible and a horrible habit. And I've been working for the last 2 years to like go back and correct it. So like with Throne of Glass, I went back in and I reread them all and I finished it. And this is the next, this is the next victim. I am planning to go back, reread this book for the 3rd time. Yeah, it's that bad. Reread this book for the 3rd time, reread the 2nd book, and then finish out the 3rd. So that's enough of that. I love this series, but technically I haven't finished it, which is actually criminal. Up next, we have the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. I have only read the first book and the novella that comes after this. So we have Powerless. The novella is Powerful. There are 2 more books left in this series. We have Reckless and Fearless. I enjoyed Powerless, but it didn't feel, I think this was a criticism that this book got quite a bit, is it really did feel like the combination of a whole bunch of other fantasy books that I've read kind of, you know, chopped up and sewn back together. There wasn't a lot that I found to be very new in this book. The romance, though, was amazing. Kai, chef's kiss, loved him, loved our female main character, but I got a little bit bored at certain parts of this book because I just felt like I'd seen it before, you know, and when things feel really formulaic, I tend to get bored. And so when I read this book, I liked it, but I felt like the whole internet was obsessed with it. Like everyone was just like on their hands and knees for Kai. Azer for Kai. You know what I'm trying to say. And I wasn't. So when the 2nd book came out and got not great reviews, I was like, I don't need to keep going, but I'm curious because I did like this book and I'm curious. I do feel like the overall reviews that I've seen online have kind of pointed to the fact that this is the best book in the trilogy, but that's kind of the reason that I have not prioritized these books. This is another one that I'm not going to be talking about for very long because I just talked about it recently, but that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is only a duology. I only need to read 1 more book in this series in order to check it off my little list. And for some odd, crazy reason, I haven't done it yet. And the even crazier thing is, well, maybe it's not that crazy, but I had no idea about this, is Rebecca Ross is releasing another book in the same world as the Divine Rivals duology this year. And I'm still unclear on whether or not you need to read Divine Rivals first before going into her new release. But regardless, mark my words, before September, when that book comes out, I will be reading Ruthless Vows, okay? I will be getting that book done this year. I'm not committing to finishing all of these series this year. I'm committing to finishing it this year. So let me know what you guys thought about it. Again, you probably can notice a theme here. A lot of these series that I haven't finished yet, I've heard mixed reviews for the following books in the series, and it makes me a little bit nervous to continue them. Divine Rivals is definitely one of those books. Mixing it up a little bit, the next book that I have to talk about is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I read this book probably 2 years ago now. It's been quite a while since I picked up the first book, and these are so magical and atmospheric. If you guys like the Lord of the Rings films, I do unfortunately feel like it is a lot more common for people nowadays to have seen the films than read the original books. I am a statistic, and I had definitely watched the films before picking up the books, but I absolutely loved those movies. And so I was gifted this book and I was like, oh my gosh, I literally have to read it. The movies were so good. If this is anything like the movies, I'm probably gonna love it. This is a really fun story. In a lot of ways, it's similar to the films. It also definitely has a lot to it that makes it very different and makes the reading experience feel like a first time thing. Like there's, you know, scenes and things that you've just never seen before that you didn't have any idea that they were a part of this world. The reason I haven't continued this one yet is because, as you might expect, it is definitely slow at certain parts. Part of it was really slow moving, and then other parts I felt like the pace kind of picked up and I really enjoyed it. And so yeah, since this book was great but really slow paced, I haven't been super itching to continue the series because I just love that feeling of picking up a book and it's a page turner. I haven't picked it up yet. What's new? That is Lord of the Rings. Next up, we have The Three-Body Problem by Liu Cixin. And this book series is actually now a television series on Netflix. I did a whole video about books that are being adapted into film and TV. And this is one of the books that I talked about in that video. And this is 100% sci-fi. It's freaking epic. And I read the first book, I read the second book, and so I have one more book to go. And the third book is literally like this big. And the issue with these books is the character list is so long. Like there are so many characters that you need to know and a lot of different things that are happening at the same time that it really is the case that the longer you go without reading the next book in the series, the harder it becomes to pick the series back up again. And I think it's been about 2.5, maybe even pushing 3 years that I started this series and haven't continued. These are really, really epic and they're super fun, but very, very confusing. Like I would say this is one of the more challenging books that I've picked up in my lifetime. Took me probably 2/3 of this book to really figure out what was going on, but really, really good. And so sometimes when books are difficult for me to understand, that contributes to me not wanting to immediately pick up the rest of the series. And lastly, we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I think this is only a duology, and huge plot twist, guys. This does not seem to me like the type of book that I would really enjoy. But I read this about maybe 1.5 years ago, and I really loved it. I found the writing to be totally addicting. The characters were hilarious. I don't think that was the point. I think the point was just to have a fun little romance, but like I found them comical, and it gave perfect summer vibes. I did not read this during the summer. I should have, but I remember the second that I finished this book, I was like, this is so out of my normal wheelhouse of types of romances that I read and enjoy, but I could not put this book down. And so to this day, I still think about wanting to read the second book in this series. I think it's called Hook, Line, and Sinker, maybe. I'll put the second book on the screen. And yeah, it's been a little while, but I definitely, like, if I just happened upon the second book, I would absolutely pick it up and continue. Those are all of the book series that I'm currently in the middle of and planning to continue, which guys, that was only 10. I don't know if you guys were counting, I'm counting. That was only 10, which I feel like is really, really good. And before we close out this video, I just want to talk about real quick some of these series that I am planning on DNFing. Again, I am open to suggestions. So if you guys think that these series get better as you progress, let me know. But yeah, real quick, let's just talk about these. First, we have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I think I rated this book around a 3-star. I thought it was good. I just really did not care for the characters, but also the character dynamics. So the situation that the characters in this book are put into is they're competing to be a part of this magical school or magical society. And there's 6 people that are chosen, but only 5 of them get to actually be selected to be part of this program. And the dynamics that sort of emerge out of this competition, I really did not enjoy. I feel like you would think that I would love that. I think most people really do love it, but it just became not even toxic, just like kind of odd. And I didn't really like the characters. I wasn't rooting for any of them, which I feel like in a story like this, you want to root for the characters. And yeah, I just didn't really like how they were interacting with each other. And so I don't really feel like continuing the series. Then we have Fourth Wing. Is this my hottest take of the video? I don't know, perhaps. But Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I loved this book right here. I thought this book was so good. I think I gave it a 4.25, but then I picked up Iron Flame and I DNF'd it at like 50%, which for those who know, Iron Flame is a long book. So I probably read like 300 pages before deciding to DNF it. Without saying too much, because spoilers, our two main characters were kind of just going in circles around certain topics of conversation, and I could not take it. I was like, guys, can we just cut all of this dialogue, all of this conversation, all of this circling around the same thing, having the same conversations over and over again to just get to the point? Like, it just felt like there was so much unnecessary stuff happening. Like, I wanted to hear about the dragons. Okay, that's why I liked this book so much. And so yeah, currently not planning on continuing Fourth Wing. You guys can let me know if that is justified or not. Next, we have Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I read the first book in this series for Christmas last year, and I didn't love it. I found the writing style to be very youthful, very YA feeling, and the content to feel very adult. And that combination did not sit well in my brain. You know, like you have a romance book where clearly very adult scenes are happening, but the rest of the story feels YA. I just didn't love that dynamic at all. And so I know that there are 3 other books in this series. Unless they get way better or the writing style drastically changes, I do not want to continue the Love Light Farm series. Then we have Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. The issue with this book wasn't so much the writing, it was that I strongly disliked the male main character. The love interest was not for me. I did not like him at all. And when you don't like the love interest in a romance, it's like, what are we even here for? So if the love interests in the future books are a different vibe than this guy, I would consider continuing the series. I guess I'm not like a hard no on this one, but I just felt like I was slogging my way through this. It was a battle to finish Bringing Down the Duke. And yeah, I kind of just made the assumption that this series wasn't for me, even though I love Bridgerton. This is another one that might be a bit controversial, but that book is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Red Rising I read about a year ago now, and this is actually my book club. It's our current read right now, which is kind of funny. I did not reread it because I didn't love it the first time that I read it. It was very violent and graphic for what I felt like was kind of no reason. It just felt very like boy, like I don't know, like it just was, there was like a lot of violence and a lot of politics and a lot of things that I normally love politics in books. I just, again, I didn't feel it. Like I didn't feel for Darrow. I wanted to emotionally connect with him and root for him, but I just needed a little bit more like softness to him as a character and a little bit more softness to the world. I wanted more layers, and I'm sure that comes in more later in the series. I just didn't really love this book, and I know everybody really, really loves it. Like, it's a good book. I just didn't connect with it. And finally, we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is an incredibly popular series, and don't get me wrong, I read the first book and I enjoyed it. However, as time went by, when I thought about picking up the second book, I never did it because I was thinking about how YA the first book felt. And I say this a lot on my channel. The reason that I don't love a lot of books is because I am not the same age as the characters in it, or the books just feel too youthful. Like, I think there's a lot of popular books that I'm really curious about because I've heard so many good things about them. But if they're really YA, I just worry that I'm not going to connect with it. And this is kind of one of those things, right? Where as time went by, what I was remembering was the fact that this was YA, not that the plot was so good or the characters were so cool or I loved the love triangle. Like, that's not what I was thinking about. And so I just hesitated haven't picked this book up. And again, it's probably been 2 years since I read the first one. But yes, those are all of the book series that I am currently in the middle of, or book series that I've DNF'd in the last few years that I'm not planning on continuing. Obviously, I have DNF'd a lot more series than these, but these ones just felt like the most relevant. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on my plans for these series. So yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do like a video where I try to continue some of these series. I also think I might be starting some series in the future. It's a never-ending battle, am I right? But yes, I think that's gonna be it from me. If you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below the dog emoji. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe, and I think that's gonna be it from me. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!